Welcome, everyone, to Live from My Drum Room, the Modern Drummer podcast. It's a pleasure to see you today, and we're going to get going right now. So please welcome my guest, my old pal from many years, the great Abe Cunningham. Here he is.
Johnny D,
Abe Cunningham.
what's shaking,
Good
man?
to see you, brother.
You too.
Yeah, buddy. It's so good to see you. So good to see you. I'm gonna do that little thing I did before, and you're great. Man, what a great room you have there too. When we did the sound check earlier, I was noticing you got beautiful natural sunlight. That's a gift to a guy like me, a podcaster.
There's actually a team out there from Hollywood with lights, and it's actually storming. The sun is out. The sun is finally out in sunny California. We're up north, obviously. It comes out at different times, a little bit more up north.
Yeah,
but it's out,
that's
and
right.
it's been out the past couple of days, and man, what a difference it makes for a lot of reasons. People are a lot nicer. You got a little spunk in your step, just because.
Isn't this something?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. No, it's the same here. In the Northeast. February's it's a tough month, and I didn't mention this earlier, but it's like 60 degrees here today.
Right.
Which is unbelievable, for February 10th. And a week ago today, my wife and I, we went up this morning. I did a little run. She did a walk. And I said, last week at this time, it was 70 degrees colder. It was like 10 below zero.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, I know. It's wild. But to your point, sunny day, warm weather, everybody's happy, everybody's smiling. It's all good.
You got it. Definitely.
I don't know that I was going to say, I don't know that I've ever seen you not smiling though. You're like one of the happiest guys. No, I'm just saying,
I'm a pretty happy guy,
You're a happy guy.
I'm happy. There's things are good. I'm a guy that knocks on wood all day long.
Sure.
All day long. But I'm pretty stoked right now. It's a good time to be alive. Knock on wood.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
What am I saying? No. Yeah, no, I'm pretty stoked, man. Things are good. And just try to keep on keeping on. Onwards and upwards.
And you're enjoying a little bit of downtime right now. The band's kind of sort of in a little off period.
Yeah. It's a trip.
Nice.
We got back after these couple years plus, and we finally got to go back on the road, and we did I think we did 2 months in the States with a tour that was postponed a few times over, and we finally were able to do that. And then we went right from that immediately into about 2 months in Europe, UK, Europe, and over there. And we haven't done a tour that long in the longest. I mean, we used to be out forever when we were, because you're trying to build something and you just go. And we have a bit more, at least I believe. No, we do have a bit more balance, and everyone's sort of come to a spot where we make a plan, we see it, we internalize it. These are the dates, and we go out and do it. But it's always a break built in, and a nice way to not get fried and burnt out, which is a great thing that you can do that. But this was 4 months solid. We're like, whoa, man, and we did it. And man, if we could have added another month on, I would have been there in a hot second. It was so much fun, and we obviously needed that. Humans need that in shows, and just that. It was amazing. So and then that was done, and we had maybe another show after that. We had a festival. We do down in San Diego. We did that, and then that was it. We're kind of writing or sort of tossing around ideas, or I think right now. So yeah.
That's great. I was going to say, do you find, and maybe it's not, like in this case where you said you did like 4 months, and then if you got work for another month after that, you'd have been like right on it. Was some of that due to the sort of pent up, like, having to be off the road for a couple of years with COVID, and just you guys just dying to play, or do you kind of like, are you one of those guys that hates getting off the road? I'm curious to know.
I mean, I am, but it's always the grass is greener type of scenario. I mean, that was obviously a case of being, we had just had a new record out. We weren't able to go play those songs or even play, so that was a huge part of it. Just like, man, we're back, take all we can get as far as shows. If they'll have us, we'll come, you know what I mean? So, and what I'm saying is that we would normally do maybe a month and a half tops and take a month off and then go. So, but this was just bam, bam, bam. And we haven't done it like that so long, but it was such a blast and such a joy, that it was, it could have been another 4 months, 5. It was just great. So,
That's great. That's great.
but yeah, the grass is always greener. It is balanced. And, I mean, as much as I love, I mean, it's always, I'm home. Now what do I do? And it's a balance
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah. No, I know some drummers, some friends that, they're on the road for a certain amount of time and they can't wait to like, to sort of just get home, just to like, they're having a great time, but at a point they're like, and then once they're home for a couple of weeks, it's
It's all it
can't wait to get
takes.
back on
It's
the,
all it,
yeah,
yeah.
that's right. Yeah. It's
Sorry.
like, ah, and and I'll just say in my, much lower, way less travel experience, but when I was working for Zildjian, and I'd be traveling a whole bunch and I'd be like complaining, grass is always greener, complaining about like, oh man, this is, I want to just get home. And then I'd be home for a few weeks and go, and I'd be itchy to
Yeah.
kind of get back out and do something. So I totally get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. Your hands heal up and it's like, well, start getting soft and no calluses. And like, now you got to, so, but yeah, no, it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So
Man, what a like success story you guys are in terms of like your fan base too. When you said, the people were digging it and I got to think they were the pent up like, desire and excitement about you guys being back out again must have been unbelievable I mean, I can't imagine what it was like for you guys to be back out doing that.
it was the best. Need a lozenge?
Yeah, I got one in my pocket.
I have the same
I'm
thing right
getting
now. Yeah, me too, man. A little something. Yeah, but I mean, and it goes both ways, man. I mean, we were just so stoked to be back out. Ricola, doing our thing, and then, and just being able to share that and have people show
Yeah,
up. And it was just the best. And,
it is.
it's the
It
best.
is.
Yeah.
I remember the first time we were talking about this. We were on the phone a couple of weeks ago, and like the first time I remember meeting you was in the '90s sometime, and I don't remember exactly when it. I've been trying to remember if it was like an Ozfest or was it
See,
a gig that,
I think, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but I think I might
no.
know. I think I may know.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It, it was either an Ozfest, but I think we were on tour with Pantera and White Zombie. We were opening up for those guys for a while. We were back in Worcester. We were back in, up there. And I think we
Yep.
might have played Tweeda, Great Oaks, Great was it?
Great Woods.
Great
Yeah.
Woods.
Yep.
What am I? I don't know.
No, close.
Infinity, Xfinity, Tweeda Center. I think it was. I want to say it was there, but it could. And if it wasn't there, it was definitely at an Ozfest. But I remember. I think Tempesta introduced us.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
think so. And well, I remember being at Great Woods, which I think it was at the time, or maybe it
right,
was Tweeter or one of those places.
right,
And because I remember, I'd come in, park in the back, and I think I met you. You were on the bus, or you had just come out or something,
right.
and I was bringing you some drumsticks, and I guess what I was getting at with the whole thing was I'd heard of you guys, I knew who you were, but I confess that I wasn't that familiar yet with the band. Because it was still kind of early days for you guys at that point, right? It was
Fully,
still,
yeah, definitely. That was probably
yeah,
like 95-ish. I think,
yeah.
first record was out. So
Yep, that's what I'm thinking. But you guys already had like amongst whether it was with you said Pantera and
I think it was White
yeah,
Zombie and Pantera. They were doing this
yeah, what's
massive War of the Gargantuans, this big tour together, and
yeah,
we were like,
yep,
we got to open up, half of the country with them, and
yeah.
we had, it
But you
was,
guys
yeah,
had it seemed like you already had a great following at that point, and then every time after that, you guys just it's. And I was going to ask you. I mean, you just kept building your following, and it was a total grassroots approach, right? Just getting out there and playing, and
totally, yeah. I
right.
mean,
I mean, like
yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, it started in the garage, like so many things
yeah,
do, and then yeah, and then it was, I think it's always just like, we could started playing in Sacramento, where we're from, and things got, over. I actually left the band for a couple of years too, and came back. So it's just wild. Like this thing was
right,
growing up, and then, but you start playing in town, and people are like, oh, these burn yourself out. So you start, hoping to get to the next town over. And in our case, we were trying to
yeah,
get, to the Bay Area, Berkeley and Oakland, San Fran, that whole area kind of thing. So, and then, working jobs, of course, too, and trying to, playing gigs. And that whole grind, and it was the best times of my, you're trying to build something. So,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
then we started making our way down to LA and down the coast, and playing little things. But yeah, it was just playing as much as we could, anytime, anywhere, nobody, people, opening. Same old story, but it's really
Yeah.
how it's done, or it
Yeah.
was.
No, exactly. I mean,
Um,
that's like the tried and true way. But I guess, some bands are able to maybe take some shortcuts nowadays if certain things fall and in the
yeah.
right place for them, so to speak. But I know I just saw you guys as being like this working band that and I have so much respect for that, Abe, the way you guys just hung in there. And I'm guessing, a lot of lean years, just, the classic paying your dues. And then,
Yeah.
more people coming to see you, more people coming to see you. And then boom, it's just, you're there and
Or not
you've arrived.
sometimes too, and then there's ups and downs.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been, we've been around, long enough to have, it's such as life, but yeah, just really relying on our friendship, and or not at times, normal band stuff, and
Yeah.
being here now, we started in 1988, and of course our first album didn't come out till 95, but you know, just that learning, and there's still some might think they know it all, but there's a lot of learning still. We're just having a really great time, and it's a trip, and it's nice to be a bit of an older dude. Just on we have the greatest time. There's it's
Yeah.
just nice
Yep.
that everyone appreciates it, man. So and it's easy to take your dream for granted at times when you're just fried and burned, and it's we're out grinding, and that's part of it. You just got to put it in perspective, and realize this is a dream.
Yeah, man. No, that's a great perspective. Like, you know, I don't imagine you've ever taken any of this for granted. I could see you just digging it as much right now, in 2023 as you did, 20 years ago when you were, you know, playing a small place with
Yeah.
a packed house and just digging the energy from the audience. It's
Fully. No,
yeah,
it's exactly the same. The feeling is exactly the same, if not more eager. I'm a eager, and I'm a drummer, man. I got energy. I'm like,
yeah,
so it's
yeah,
like, yeah, but no, it's just cool. So yeah, hope to do it again and again.
yeah, man. That's great. And you guys have, as we talked about, an incredible fan base too. And I've witnessed that. And my son really, like, just really became a huge fan of yours, gosh, probably 20 years ago.
Right.
And really kind of turned me on more to what you got. That's, I feel like the old guy saying this, but
Nothing wrong at all with what you're saying. It's no, I
yeah,
mean, you get turned on
yeah,
to things, and
it's
yeah, Junior, how is Junior?
Junior's great. He's hoping to watch this. He's working, but he says hello. And he did ask me to ask you about Deftones beer, which I wasn't
Ooh,
aware of that. So I don't know if that's something that you guys is that like a band sanctioned?
yeah, fully. It's
Yeah. Oh,
I'll get you some too. It's a bit hard to get for a smaller brewery to get state lines, and there's liquor. You can't.
sure. Yeah.
But
Oh,
I'll
don't.
no, it's
If there's a,
if you like beer, it's really good. There's a few of them, and there's been, yeah, it's pretty neat. Little thing that
I do,
we met up with
I do
this.
like beer.
I love it too. Yeah, no, yeah, you guys should have some. I'll get you some.
Oh, well, thank you. But I wasn't fishing for that. I really wasn't. I'm happy to.
Reel it in, Johnny. Reel it in. No, all good, man.
Oh man. Well, we got a bunch of folks watching, and like a bunch of questions, but I just wanted to wrap to you because this is great, man. I feel like every time we've ever gotten into a conversation, we just get into drum. We can easily just talk about drums, and I love that.
Yeah, if we were in that room right now, I mean, we are on the room, but I'm looking
Right
around,
on.
and man, some gorgeous gems behind you there. And
Thank you.
I'll raise
Thank you.
you this.
Oh man, dig it. Yeah, yeah.
Team Live
I
On.
love it.
Will team all those guys back there on that windowsill, but
Yeah, leave on, man. Yeah,
yeah.
he's top of the top of the mountain there.
One of
Leave
my
on.
favorites is just that snare hit in King Harvest. King Harvest will surely come. Bah! Do-doom, do-doom,
Yeah.
do-doom, do-do-doom, do-do-doom. Oh man. So anyways, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I didn't know you. Well, I should know that you're a big Levon fan because you got a lot of soul in your playing, and he was just seeping with it, just
Fully.
yeah. What a great guy. I only got to meet him in person one time. Spoke with him a bunch of times on the phone, and I'm so glad I got to actually shake his hand at a gig once. And I can't explain it, but I tell this story, and he had the most warm. He held my hand when he shook it,
Right.
and he said, thanks for everything, thanks for all you do, and come to a ramble sometime. I hope you'll come up to a ramble sometime. And he sadly passed
Before
maybe
you.
yeah, I
Oh
was able
man.
to do that. And but what a human, what a like his personality was the same as his playing.
Right.
I guess is the best way to explain it. But
I bet. Yeah, I never met him, but I imagine it would be exactly as you say. just
yeah,
warm. This that. Yeah.
yeah,
Ah, all right. To
that's
him.
that's great. Yeah, to leave on.
To
Yeah,
leave on.
and I got to tell you this. A couple of comments I just want to read to you, Abe. Brett Ashley Hutchinson is what says, I'm watching my all-time favorite drummer, and he drops a hat with my second favorite drummer. All right, cool.
Hey
Well,
man.
Brett, how about that? Yeah, that's cool.
Hey there, Brett. Awesome, man. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see the other hats up there, Abe, but I have
There's a
Keltner,
and a Gad, right? There was a four
yeah,
from yeah,
and
and
Ringo.
Ringo, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
and Charlie up next to over there too. So man.
Charlie. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's some good company here.
Well,
I need as much as I can get. All that mojo.
hey man, we all do. I hear you, man.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
So, are you playing much drums when you're home? Are you have some drums set up to just kind of get
Yeah.
behind and
So I was saying earlier, I just moved into this new spot, and I'm hoping to. I have a V drums kit here. So I'm the drummer in the neighborhood, and I want to be a good neighbor for as long as it's possible. So I have this V drum kit that's it's pretty. It's nothing like smacking a drum. We all there's nothing like that at all.
yeah.
But those things have got pretty cool, and we're trying to write a bit. We don't live in the same town. A couple of the guys are still in Sacramento. Me being one of them. We still have our studio we've had for years and years and years, and that's a couple miles from where I live. There's drums there. But so we're trying to write, and before we're reactive. We get in the room and we jam and see what sticks. We laugh, fight, all that band stuff.
Yeah,
But right now we're
sure.
trying to
Yeah.
have a few ideas, so we're having a little Dropbox type of thing, and I'm a dingbat, man. I don't have any social media. I do have an Instagram, which I don't even know what to do with. I put it. I don't know which I don't. And anyways, I'm just doing stuff in GarageBand on V drums and tossing some ideas back to we're kind of getting started on that. But man, I know it's easier than said or than I think, but it's just like aging me. And oh my god. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. We're actually
Great.
we have
Yeah.
a show coming up in a couple of weeks, so I think we're gonna go down and do a little rehearsal, a little practice action next week or so. But yeah, so I've been playing the V drums. They're beautiful. A lot of
Yeah.
options. It's fun to mess around and build your kits, and whatever the material on the wall in the studio is, the mic, the amount of tape, whatever. Cool. But nothing like smacking a tub. You know that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. But I totally get it, and you're a good, responsible neighbor. You don't want to be the guy that just moved in. That's the drummer. Do they know who you
they
are? Do they?
expect it.
So they
No,
know who you are. Yeah.
no. We actually had this little sort of a little meeting thing, a little mixer the other day, if you will, like one of the neighbors across the street. And he's like, I've just everyone kind of it's a fairly new neighborhood, and it's really cool. It was great. I was like, oh god, it turned out to be great. And but I'm just Abe, Jenny from the block. I'm just Abe anyways, but I mean, no, yeah. So getting to know people, it's kind of funny. Everyone's real cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. But I get it. No, it's cool. That's cool. Um, I don't have a V drum kit, and I've thought about getting one, but at this point, I don't. Our neighbors are far enough away. We used to
Right.
live in a place before we moved to this house that I really should have had an electronic kit, and I didn't. But my neighbors were so cool about it,
Yeah.
and they let me play. But now we kind of have a little bit more freedom to. I can make some noise and
Yeah.
not bother people, so it's cool. But
Yeah. That's a good
yeah,
thing right there. That's
I get it.
yeah.
So when you guys, a couple questions. So like when you guys write for a record, I'm guessing it's always been the case too, where you guys don't go into the studio to write? You go in, you've got the tunes together when you record, right? You don't.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, the first album, of course, you have they say your whole
Yeah.
life to write. You go in and, but the second record we did, we obviously felt a bit more comfortable. So we had majority of the material written and wrote a few songs, which actually turned out to be some of the best songs on that album in the studio.
Yeah.
Our third record, though, was the first time we were at the plant, like an old record plant in Sausalito. It was one of the three record plants, and
Yeah.
rumors, a lot of rumors was done there. And I remember Fleetwood Mac saying they wrote in the studio, and it was like, man, but that'd be great. And that could be the best thing in the world if you use the studio as a laboratory and really get comfortable and mess with things and sounds and mic positions and all that good stuff. Or it could be a disaster. So it can be incredibly costly if it's not going right. But
Yeah.
we tend to try to have most of it done. But you always want to, hope to have a little bit of that good mojo. And hopefully, I always just bug out being able to record in some of the places that we have. We've also done stuff in our little funky studio, which is, some of the best drum sounds came out of there too. But some of these great old studios that are still around, and you hope to bump a little dust off the ceiling comes on you, and that mojo, or just, the reverence for the history of those rooms, and then that's such a special thing too. So, but yeah, we try to have, you don't want to waste time and money. So you try to have it, but hopefully it's a little spark that might ignite while you're in there,
Yeah.
everyone's feeling it. Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Cause I mean, and it's good. You guys have that discipline from your,
Kind of, maybe.
no, but I got to think that you guys learned early on to be really, productive and expeditious when it comes to, spending the money in the studio.
Yeah.
But to your point, sometimes you're in there and it's like everything's sounding great and you get an idea and just something happens and those are great moments.
Yeah. You put those cans on and you're in there just like, whoa, man, this is like learning to relax in the studio too, and let the room breathe, let the mics do their job and everything. And, just learn. And that takes a long time too, to get comfy in that situation, and, but yeah, still learning, always learning, trying to figure it out, make it, but, and be, fiscally responsible as a band.
No,
When you're younger, you tend to like, oh man, I thought we were badass. We're at the plant. We're recording in this great. We can, we're like Fleetwood Mac. We can wait. We can wait. So it's kind of funny.
We can spend a year. Yeah.
Oh, anyways, but yeah.
No,
yeah.
No. So when you guys, I was just gonna say, when you guys go to rehearse for the upcoming shows you're doing, how much rehearsal time do you generally need if you've just gotten off the road not that long ago? Is it just like just dusting things off a little bit?
Totally. And I wish it was as simple as us just getting in a room. And it really is. But I mean, there's also crew, and there's for carrying monitors and productions. And that's a whole different story if you're going on tour. And but so just a bit. I mean, I still feel pretty good from what we just got off, even though that was like 5-6 months ago, which is crazy. I don't know how that time passed so quickly. But I feel pretty. And there's a lot of songs over the years. We have a handful of records, man. 9 or something like that, or then other songs. So we try to do a little little homework if everyone can get it together and settle on some sort of list. And then if anything that we haven't played in a while, we try to do a little homework beforehand. I usually do it on the plane ride down there. I have an hour. Saco to Burbank to pull it all together. But if the mood is good in the room, if the mood is good, it's everything. If it's not, it sucks. But that's such as life too.
Yeah.
You didn't practice what? You didn't practice the song that we gave you. Everyone had their homework. What So we try to keep it light.
Yeah. That's great to hear that you guys have the same not challenges but situations as little bands like the band I'm in, where
it's all the same.
Yeah.
And these dudes are a riot, man. And I never laughed harder than so it's the best. It's we're brothers.
Yeah. It sure seems that way. That's so cool. So when you, I wanted to, I was going to ask you one of the first things I was going to ask you, and I hate to even ask questions. I don't want it to seem like it's all about questions, but I was going to ask you who some of your early drumming influences were. guys that when you first started playing?
So I always get stumped on this question.
Oops, sorry.
So I just brainstormed right in the little time since we did the little sound check, a little list.
Oh, good, good. You knew I was going
It
to
would
ask
be
you that.
ridiculous if I was trying to remember it offhand, because you're going to see me going like, and that's bullshit. I mean, really, it started. I mean, honestly, it started with Ringo, of course. When I learned, my dad played bass. My stepfather played drums. I ended up taking the drums over from him around 7 years of age, but I was always at the gigs, and a lot of blues, a lot of, soul, R&B, just really good music, man, and listening to those records. But I remember the first thing was Magical Mystery Tour, and that the intro to that song where it speeds that
Yeah, yeah,
and I remember getting like, being able to lock, and I just played the records, man. But it was the Cars, David Robinson, Stuart
yeah.
Copeland, of course. But I mean, and I'm not even looking at the list. I'm just trying to think of the first things I really remember besides, Gene Parsons from the Bird, mid to later Birds.
Yep.
Just things. Booker T. Jones, that music, um, Stax stuff. But I can name a million things off this list if you want.
No, no, that
It's funny,
explains a
but
lot
it
to it.
really,
Yeah.
but it's, I mean, again, it's, it started with Ringo, just learning to play those records. And then I just played along to my parents, where I thought had great taste in music, and I was always turned on to things. And I grew up in a small town called Mendocino, up on the coast, about, hour and a half, 2 hours from San Fran. And
Right.
it was just this
Yeah.
vibrant, it was in the 70s, early 70s. And it was a vibrant town. A lot of people came through and played. A lot of people had musicians, and had land up
Yeah.
there. They would come up, and it was just a magical time of hippie-ish action and coastal. It was great,
Right.
man. So
Yeah.
flatbed trucks and
Yeah.
happenings and jams, and me just, so, but yeah. And then I started getting my own, as we all do. You start kind of branching off and digging what you dig, or digging what your friends dig. And then it went from there,
That's great. Yeah. No, what a great, I'm a little older, obviously, but I was lucky to have a similar situation here on the East Coast, where it was like a really, to your point, like a really vibrant time
Yeah.
for music, like lots of live venues yeah, I know. I gotta do one. Um, lots of live venues to see bands and to play music. And I thought as much about you because I hear that, like, a lot of, I definitely hear like a Stuart Copeland influence, which
Yeah, I can't
makes
help it,
perfect
man.
sense.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
help
no,
it,
that's cool. That's man, I mean, what's not to be totally in love with Stuart? You know what I mean? He's just forever going to be, one of my heroes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
fully.
Yeah, and but it's great that to have that in your kind of in your DNA, your drumming DNA, because I think that transcends like all these generations. You're influencing drummers today that might not be aware of who Stuart Copeland is, or maybe in
Right.
20 years they might not really know. And thanks to you, it's this. I think it's a lot of, excuse me, like Vinnie Colaiuta has done that with Tony Williams.
Fully. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
And
exposed
isn't
people
that
to.
what it's all about
Yeah,
too? Is it's these are lessons, and then if you can, you know, knock off a little, not being a Mr. Know-it-all, but if you could, chip off a little bit of knowledge for someone, and they get turned on, or just, even that's the beauty of music, and that's what it's really all about, man. Just being able to share and
yeah,
soak in, and and becoming your own identity is, of course, that's the goal, and
right, exactly.
by the end, but some of these things, there's that clip of Vinny talking about how he, it was, I just saw it the other day too. It's kind of funny you mentioning him about, having to just forget it all, and trust yourself, and really, and to become who you are, and not mimic, and not, copy. We all copy. That's how we learn. That's how we get going and stuff.
Yeah,
And also that's the way music goes too. So you just try to, and part of it of yourself always onto that,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
and and, and
yeah.
add and add to the progression of it all.
Yeah, which is what you've done. I mean, you definitely have whatever influences you have, you've gone your own way. You know, you've definitely made your own style from, and you know, everybody. I mean, let's face it, all our heroes got it from somebody else
Fully,
anyway, you
yeah,
know. So
yeah. No, I've
it,
jacked from so many, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not ashamed. I'm just learning. So yeah, but yeah, and you hopefully just feeling comfortable in your own skin is a huge thing, and it doesn't it's a lifetime quest sometimes, you know. So
yeah,
or
absolutely.
your sonic, yeah. So, but yeah, there's so much great stuff to take in, and I always love getting turned on to something new or old, you know.
Yeah, dig it exactly. So it's funny. You mentioned earlier. Um, well, it's not funny having calluses on your hands, but you mentioned earlier, you know, the calluses have all gone away and your hands have softened up. That's exactly what I would assume. I mean, the way you play, you know, you play with a lot of intensity. I mean, you know, play the shit out of the gig. And do you have you worked on like your endurance? Is there something that like do you have a warm up routine or something that you there's no ballads in the Deftones
There's
set list
some,
that I
oh,
can.
there's
Yeah,
definitely some, yeah, and I love those times. You know, I mean, there's enough material these days to make a pretty
yeah, yeah,
pretty nice set with everything you need into it, and obviously just learning to take a break. And pacing is everything, and just
yeah.
again, but it really comes down to we start a tour, maybe not been on the road for a while. I try to just always try to stay limber, of course, and as I age, and just and that becomes rather than for me. I mean, maybe not the best advice at all, but I mean, for me, I just try to stay. You get in that groove, and you try to stay limber and loose, hydrated. I like a beer or two before I go on, but I mean, but I like to, water, of course, and I just like to stay loose and limber, and nothing better than smacking the shit out of a drum, but you can only hit it so hard too, and then,
Right, right.
and you shouldn't kill yourself. It shouldn't be painful,
No, no.
yeah.
Yeah, doesn't have to be that
And
painful.
then, but
Yeah.
if you're in a good, a road groove, at least for me, it just sort of becomes like, oh shit, another show in an hour. Okay, let's go, let's knock it out. And and then but the whole warm-up process is really going on just being on the road, for me at least, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
a I try to keep loose and listen to my joints and different parts of my body, and
Yep.
yeah, totally, man.
And like any kind of mental warm up too, like are you
I still get, I mean, butterflies are always there. I get so, occasionally I get like really bad stage fright, man, and um but with us and these fools I'm in a band with, it's really about the vibe, I mean, it's like, man, there's so much laughter, and just like, I'm just, man, I just look around, and and it's that keeps you going, that
yeah,
really
yeah.
helps, and if the vibe is bad, it's awful, man, and it can be bad. That's part of it, that's always part of it, but we hope
Yeah.
to make it a smooth ride, and not being fried and burnt, and going. I mean, being able to take breaks is such a huge part of that, and from
Yeah.
having that balance at home, and all these great things in your life besides playing music and being able to play music for a living, um, keeping these sets of things upright. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
yeah.
happy.
And I'm
Yeah.
guessing yeah, and staying, you know, in the zone and I'm guessing the audience probably has something to do with it too. Like if not that you'd ever have a not a receptive audience, but maybe some nights the audience is even just like through the roof and
Yeah.
it's just the energy is like that much. Do you find yourself almost getting too excited sometimes
Oh yeah. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
there's yeah,
But I also have a bit. I mean, I have a bit of like, all right, I got this, man. I've done this a few
yeah,
times. Like, I got this. But
yep,
there's always that, And then once, like you speak of that great, amazing audience, like it's, once in the blue moon, you get one of those shows where like it's like, wow, and that's what that was the one. Everyone comes off stage, and you just like, that was great, man. Usually we come off like, it was good stuff, or killer, man. But every
yeah,
once in a while, you get that one where you're like, whoa, man, that was that was really killer, man. And you hope that if you could bottle that, but so
yeah,
that's what you
yeah.
try to achieve, that all the time, or at least have that be the bar. And it's gotta enjoy.
Yeah, that's no, that's great to hear that. Yeah, that like that you feel that too when everything's like firing on all the right cylinders, you can like it's just at another level of just
Yeah.
and how that makes you feel.
Or when it's
Yeah.
just the sound guy or gal at the club when you're, and there's no one in there, and maybe the bartender. You can have some great shows then too.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
first tour in some town, and like, oh shit, no one's here. No. Just do like we always do to
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
Man, that was good. There was no one here. That was a great show tonight. You played really well. Hey, thanks. You too. You know.
How much does that you when you mentioned this like I'm guessing it's pretty consistent like your monitor mix what you hear in your ears every night, but does that ever vary and affect I'm just curious to know
Yeah.
as a fellow drummer how that can affect your performance or if it
Yeah.
can.
Fully. I mean, we're lucky to be able to carry our, our monitor system, our rig with us, and all that good stuff. So it's consistent, of course, in indoor, outdoor,
Yeah, yeah.
some, amazing place like Red Rocks with the rocks, or whatever. I mean, it's always these different things, but it's pretty consistent. And I use in-ears I have for many, many years. Oh, Siri's.
Yep.
I'm not talking to you,
Oh.
Siri. I just touched these things and Siri popped on. Go. I love you, but go. So the consistent. Oh, she did. All right. She just said, okay, she's gone. Thank you, Siri. Don't come back on. So the consistency is there, but yeah, I mean, it definitely varies from indoor, outdoor, weather. If it's moist out or or
Yeah.
beautiful sky, the sound goes. If it's foggy and everything's kind of it's all kind of in there. But when we still have wedges and subs all over. It's like a lot of bands. We're still a rock band. I mean, Stefan, our guitarist, refuses to go. Everyone's on ears now except for him, and he's just got this zone. But there's still these massive side fills. I have huge subs behind me. I have a butt kicker, and I usually take one out. I have the vented or the like a little hole. Would that be vented? I don't
Hmm.
know. So I can get a little bit of cymbal, uh, in there without.
Yep.
But I like to take one. I used to take this one out a little bit, just so I can get that, feel it. But
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
consistent, and that's really. I mean, yeah, nothing worse than I need more kick, more. I gave it all you got. That's all I got. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I
we got some
know.
we got some
And
headroom now. We can push it up if you need. So
yeah,
yeah.
that's great. That makes all for me that makes all the difference too. It's like when you can't hear it and that'll yeah, I mean, I won't even get started
And
on
just the
that, but
comfort. I mean, the butt kicker is so nice on that too. Just a little, because it connects. Especially with the ears in. And again, I have these huge subs behind me, so I feel it. But and also not being just because you have all this stuff, doesn't need to be. Bring. We're over all these years learning to bring things way down, and it's better for front of house, of course. I mean, when
yeah.
our stage volume we were so loud for so long, man, and just being able to bring things down, it makes it a lot more comfortable and relaxed. Allows you to relax.
Yeah.
Doesn't
And
always
and
have to
you've
be,
done
cranked.
right on. Yeah. And you guys have done that. You've your stage volume is lower than it was maybe
6
a few
months ago.
years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah,
6 months
definitely. Yeah,
ago.
we had a big talk. Yeah, and that's important, man. I mean, you can only be so loud. You can only hit it so hard. You can only, and um, so yeah, and that's a comfort thing too, because we always relied
Yeah.
on that. Like, well, if it's bad, just crank. I feel it. It's crazy. It's like so loud and great. But then you're like, it's not, man. It eats you
Yeah.
up. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So yeah, there's a nice balance to be found. So nice when everybody's
Yeah.
on the same
No.
page.
I was gonna say, and I got to think too that you as the drummer, you kind of have the hardest job at that point because if you then have to feel like you physically have to hit, it's almost like your mind tells you, well, I got to hit harder now to be heard on
Right.
stage, even though they can hear you fine through the monitors. It's like, and that affects your playing too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when you have to start hitting harder
Totally,
and
and physically, but it's about trust. If you can trust people with you, your crew and your mates and everybody, and trust and like, hey man, and everyone's feeling good, then there you go.
yeah,
Trust is
absolutely,
trust is
yeah,
a trust is a huge thing.
yeah, yep.
Yeah,
No, it's great advice for any other musicians, bands that are watching right now. It's all about the trust.
because how many times have you been in a
Hey,
club? You all right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize.
I
I
got it
thought I
too,
was
man.
through with this
You're all
little
good.
frog in my throat.
But
No,
how
were
many
you going to
times
say?
have you been at a club when you're like, hey, Mr. Monitor person, hey, can I get a little bit more kick? And they're like, you're like, I think it's better, and they're not doing anything, and they're not,
Yeah,
but you're like,
yeah, yeah,
I know who you, I know what you're doing, I know what you're not
yeah,
doing. So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I know. Or I make the mistake of saying to we don't use a sound guy all the time, but when we do, and I'll go, drums sound okay out front, and it's like, what's he gonna say? No.
they
He's like,
sound
oh, they sound good. They
yeah,
sound great.
they sound like
Man, yeah,
drums. You're like, oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
okay, great, man. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
thank you. Yeah,
I know, I know. Well, I'm gonna read you a couple questions if you don't mind. These came through the Facebook page,
okay.
and I hope I can pronounce some of these names correctly. This comes from Grayson Krapovicki. Krapovicki, I hope I have that right. Um, any talks on reprinting Like Linus for the 30th anniversary?
That's actually a demo that I didn't play drums on that. Actually, that's when I was out of the band. I took off for a little while. Um,
Ah, okay.
that
Sorry I asked. Man,
No, it's fine. It was a
Grayson, what are
demo.
you
It's funny.
doing?
People think that it was I mean, it's been put into a compilation that people made, and they think it was an actual. It was the Like Linus demo tape at the time. But God, I don't know. I got a couple tapes if you want me to send you one. But got a cassette player. Yeah, it's funny. That's a pretty cool song too. But 30. I think it's more like, wow, that's crazy. No, I don't, honestly, Grayson, I don't know. I wish I had a better
Yeah,
answer.
I would say if
I
there
think I
were
think what's out
plans,
there is out there. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, right, exactly. I think you'd know if there were going to be plans. So, but good, good question from Grayson. Thank you.
fully.
Yeah. Kristen Neros is asking, and I think we know the answer. Thoughts on electronic drum sets? And you'd mentioned your V drum kit.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, I remember back in the day going to, again, I lived in Mendocino, and my dad and I would drive down, down to Oakland to this place called Leo's Music, and
oh yeah, I remember them.
yeah,
Yeah.
Leo's, and they had this. That's where he got this big, beautiful Ludwig, which became my first drum set that I took. I still have it too. It was a
Oh,
1981
cool.
when they went modular with the triangular, um,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
Atlas hardware and Cortex White, I believe. Still have it. Anyways, but we were like, man, looking at Modern Drummer and seeing these Simmons drums, and we're like, so we drove. Took a couple hour drive down and through the redwoods and into wine country
Oh
and into the
man.
city, and
Yeah.
went and played this set of Simmons drums, the very first ones, SDS5 or SD5, whatever they were, I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it was so fascinating, but yet it was the most uncomfortable. They were really plastic. It was awful, man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, they're so. I took the man, the brochure home, and I just would stare at it and like, drool.
That's so
But
cool.
it's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. And of course, these mesh heads now, and the V drums, Roland, electronically speaking, all their iterations, from the jump, also killing the drummer too, with the drum machines and everything. But we've learned to work together now and hybrid.
Embrace it. Yeah.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
totally. But yeah, I think they're great, man. It's really neat what you can do, and even you can get a cheaper version of of the V drums, and they're great too, and it's but that feel is really something different. The cymbals now too, and
Mhm.
yeah, so it's great. I mean, if you're in a spot that I like hybrid drumming. I love adding sounds, being a kid of the 70s and then obviously 80s when I really was getting into things, and there was so much of that drum machines being added to the mix too, and I hated it, but I've learned to love it now. That's not real. That's a fake drill. That's a drill. And I was like, hey, I hate that band. Depeche Mode is one of my favorite bands in the world. But that's not a. So you learn to expand and take it in.
Yeah.
But they're great, man. They're really cool. Great for knocking ideas out. Great for neighbors, or housemates or partners or kids if they're asleep. I mean, headphones, bam. Small spaces you
Yeah.
can get. So yeah, it's pretty amazing what you can achieve and get your yayas out with those these days, you know, pretty cool, man. So there you go, Chris.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. And you know, excellent point. I mean, it's for you, they're perfect, you know, because and you have, like you say, you have the best of both worlds with having those to practice on, and then you know, you can still play the acoustic drums, you know, kind of get your you know your
The
fill of
physical.
that,
Oh,
the
yeah.
physical.
And I have
Yeah,
a
exactly.
I use a little bit of both. I mean, obviously my main kit is all acoustic, but I do have I have a little bit of hybrid action going on have for years on my kit live. So yeah.
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 It's funny you mentioned and when you said like Depeche Mode, and do you find that too that like bands that you know for whatever reason 20 years ago or something 30 years ago you didn't dig them because of this or that, and then you hear them now and you go like and it's like why did
Uh,
I not like this band or I always liked this band, you know? It's
youthful. This it was for me, it was like those are drum machines. Oh no.
yeah. I,
And they're one of my altitude. I just bought tickets. They're starting their tour on I think the 23rd in Sacto in my town. I'm going to go see them. I just bought tickets. So yeah, then you know
that's great.
you learn to
Yeah. Yeah.
lighten up, Abe. They're great. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm the same way. It's like all
Yeah.
these, for me, it's like these sappy sort of pop bands that when I was a teenager, you know, I'd hear them on the radio and I couldn't stand it. And now, like, I'll hear something on, you know, I shouldn't say sappy, but a song that I might have thought was sappy, but like a really
Holy.
great vocal part, you know, that, um, and I'll really appreciate it now and go like and it could be like Hal Blaine or Jim Gordon playing drums or Rick Marotta, somebody, and I'll go, shit, man, I just missed this tune.
Well, the Murata brothers too. They're on here. How
All
you know?
right, yeah,
No, but
yeah, how, you gotta,
and that was a great time for you know album oriented rock radios, FM
yeah,
radio
yeah,
and AM radio too. But man, there was great songs, man. And of
I
course,
know.
and Mr. Burt Bacharach just left us yesterday too, man. Which is
Oh,
you know what
yeah,
great songs too, man. The songs of our lifetimes, you know.
yeah, yep, yeah. I you know, I love the fact that, um, you know, as we get older, I really think we get better as far as like whether it's you know the sensibility of the way approach playing the drums, like your you know what you choose to play, what you choose not to play,
Right.
and I think even just like your you know yours, mine, everybody's choices, and like you know putting things in the right perspective, and like you say, lightening up, you know, not judging something because it's got a drum machine or like tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, Abe, like again, I'll give away my age, but like I was like Mr. like in high school, anything that was considered disco was just like shit, and you know
Yeah.
you had to hate disco as a rock drummer, and until I found out years later that the song. I'll just tell you this quick story.
Go for it.
I'm
Yeah.
in
I
this
love it.
I'm in this band in high school, and one of the guys in the band says, you know, we should play the song "Do the Hustle" because you know we do these high school dances. People will dance. And like, "Do
Yeah.
the Hustle," that song. Oh, come on, you kidding me? And I remember we like I got out, you know, outvoted listening to the tune. I turned it on the radio a million times. Sit down to listen to it, and I'm going, oh shit, there's more going on than
Right.
I thought on this song. You know, it's a pretty cool
Yeah.
beat. And then I find out years later it's Steve Gadd, you know,
Wow,
on
man.
that song. And it's a really hip tune. It's a really hip
Right.
drum part when you listen to it. So
Yeah, man.
um,
I
yeah,
I hear you.
not
Yeah.
for this
Lighten up.
squirmish. Yeah, lighten up.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, too funny. All right, couple more quick questions here. So Francisco Ribeiro asks two questions.
Okay.
When do you think the next Deftones album will be released? And you mentioned you guys are starting to do some writing on that. And how is it going from the process of the new album? That's the first
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
And his second question is, will there be some stuff from Eros officially released?
Okay. First part. Yeah. It's Francisco just getting going right now. Really just trying to toss some ideas around. Again, us not living in the same town for a lot of years now. I mean, back in the day, you know, like I said, we have the studio not too far from my house. We've had since 90, we got it for the second record right before that. So we've had it since 96. And we would be there every single day if we weren't on tour. That was our clubhouse, you know, recording, finally turned it into a studio. So we better, you know, there every day just hanging and jamming. But that's not the case anymore. So we usually just get a room together down in Burbank area, North Hollywood area, and just hash it out. but we're trying to get a little jump on that with some ideas in this Dropbox thing, which is just getting going. Excuse me, right now. So we're kind of just going. I have no idea what will come or how long or anything, but we're just excited to make some new music together, definitely. So that is that.
Great.
Ooh, Eros. Eros is a trip. A lot of people have interest in that, and I know why. It's well, it's She's last album that he played on, man, you know. And it was an awful time. We were at that time, we were getting back to being brothers and really learning each other after all this crazy band stuff, and for years, you know, really enjoying the process and hanging out again together. And then his accident happened, and that sort of just, we just stopped. And there's a couple of songs that have been released, you know, just through being leaked, and we played a couple songs live. The whole record needs a lot of work still. Maybe in an EP form, or maybe the whole, I don't know, you know. I know that people are curious, and rightfully so. And it's been asked really, you know, many times, but there's some cool songs on there. There's some garbage too, don't trip.
Yeah.
And it was never finished too. That's the main, it was never completed. So, and to go back to it is heavy, but there's some cool songs, definitely.
Thanks for answering that. I know that was probably not an easy.
Oh, no.
Easy.
Happy to answer the questions, of course. Happy that people want to ask them. Say it.
Great. All right. There's another one more question here, and this is from Billy Martineau, who I know is watching because he just jumped on the Facebook thread and said, "Hi, Abe." I think he did. I saw him somewhere.
Hello,
he
Billy.
Posted this question. Yeah, Billy. Abe, how was making music with Sergio Vega? And you know, mentioning that she, I'm sure, was on all your minds. Did that reflect in the music?
Yeah, man, making music with Serge was awesome, man. He brought tons to this band, you know, at that time. Totally, man. That's one of my favorite basses ever, from one of my favorite bands ever. Quicksand, man. Come on, you know.
Yeah.
Got to be in a band with him, so it was amazing. That dude's a badass, man. So,
Great.
but yeah, she was the spirit of that. You know, we kind of came back and it's like, do you guys want to keep going? Want to try this again? And yeah, so, but that first record with Serge, Diamond Eyes was all, you know, she's with us every day in spirit, man. You know, of course, quite a presence, that dude, man. Yeah. You know, so yeah, but fully, Billy.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's great. I'm going to just see if there's any other questions that I might have missed here in the little thread, and yeah, we can, you know, as we start to wrap it up, and I promised I wouldn't take your whole day doing this, so I so appreciate you being here.
Oh, Johnny, this is amazing. Yeah, so this is very loose, and this is great. Could talk all day long.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. And I want to just, if you don't mind, I want to show this photo that of you and me and Junior from about 10 years ago. I want to say it was just before I left Zildjian. This was at Great Woods.
Okay, with System. Yeah, we were. I could see his
System, exactly.
I can see his and yours too.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I didn't realize it said it on the pass. You're right. Yeah, good old John Dalmayan was there that night.
Yep. Who else was there? Yeah. No, I remember that vividly. I remember that. I lost that shirt. Damn it! I still have that one though.
That's a killer shirt you're wearing. Yeah.
I know that guy in the middle.
You look exactly the same from, 10 years ago.
Here.
Young, handsome Abe.
You take this mat. Yeah, no, I remember that. That was a good time, man.
Yeah, that was a great night. We really dug it. My son was so excited to be there. I don't know, maybe his friend Max might have been with him as well, but
I believe so.
I just want to, and I want to say thanks as always for always like just being the great dude you are, and always, taking care of me and him and everybody. And all those years I worked at Zildjian, you were just always such a great guy to work with. And
the feeling is mutual, man. I have to thank you, by all means. And it's always been a nice thing to see you guys come out. And Johnny D has always been one of the ones, dude. That's you, baby. So no, I appreciate all the support, of course, all those years too, man. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That first time we were talking about, that's why I was curious when you said maybe around 95. That's what I recollected as well. And I remember, I think it was you'd mentioned, I think Johnny Tempesta
Yeah.
said, keep an eye out or something. And because I remember when I came to find you, you said, "Hey, how you doing, Johnny D?" or something. You
Yeah, it
you
was
just was like,
Johnny T and Johnny D. It's the best of,
yeah,
man. So
yeah,
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 he definitely got us to,
yeah.
so yeah.
And I felt like I knew you like forever, just that first time I met you, and just got such a great vibe. And I want to give a shout out to Kirsten, who I know, you've known even longer, and
Fully.
she was the one I think that really was her, and maybe even Brent Anderson were the ones that
And
brought you on board.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really wild. Yeah, 19. Well, I remember she was coming to shows in LA, and we would go pick up or meet her somewhere, and she would have some, just this bag of, I was some goodies, and they were, just
Yeah.
funky, beautiful used pies, that were, they were, and it was the best. And then she would just, and I would always, we kind of built that, but then when I actually had a chance to get something to sign with, it was amazing, man. So, but she was
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
bringing things out, and supporting early on was quite a blessing, and,
That's what I remember too, is that she saw, like she really had a vision for you guys having a future, and believe, and said, let's I want to help him out while the band needs the help, and and all
yeah,
those good things, and it's great to see
yeah.
here we are all these years later.
Oh, fully. No, it's amazing. It's quite a, yeah, it's been a few too. That's pretty wild. But no, she's the best, and we're buddies to this day. And I'm so grateful for the support, and just the affiliation, with all these, and meeting you guys along the way,
Yeah,
for real.
absolutely. Um, Man, well, I'm gonna wrap things up here, and just take one last look to see if I can throw one more question toward Abe. But I think I got to all of them, and I want to thank everybody for watching today, and maybe we'll end the live stream and we'll just keep talking about drums.
All good.
Oh, my son just texted me and said, "Make sure you tell Abe he's still my favorite drummer."
Junior.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks,
Gonna
Johnny
see
D.
him
Junior.
tomorrow, by the way.
Okay. Hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
and if we're ever back, we will be back your way soon. Maybe we can meet up one of these nights, and uh,
Absolutely.
grab a
Yeah.
bite, maybe have a glass of wine or two or whatever, or just cruise around. I'd love to see you.
You name it, man. When you're
Cool,
when you're
man.
back this way, we will make that happen for sure. Yeah, and if you're not too far away, I'll have you down to the drum room.
Dude, I would love that.
You can
You
show
got a
me how it's
lefty,
done.
you're lefty, and no, please, we can lefty and a righty too, baby.
Yeah,
Oh, one
yeah.
last thing. You said you had a star kit.
Yes, I do.
So
It's at I moved it to rehearsal,
okay,
but it's yeah.
I have a I was just learning. I mean, well, I found this acrylic star kit years ago on eBay, and I still have it. It's just a rack and a floor and a kick. Um, but it was probably 70s, I imagine, when everyone was getting on that tip. But yeah, and I saw your star. I was like, oh, I have one too.
Oh
Compare
man, well yours
compare
is
sales.
way hipper. Are you kidding me? You got an
No,
acrylic. Those got to be super duper rare. I
it's
mean,
it's beat. It's really. I mean, it's just needs some love. Haven't. It's needs some love. It's speed up. The seals were really funky back then, and it's been through hell and back. But it's a pretty cool thing to have, man.
absolutely. Yeah,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
going to show you really quickly. I mean, we got all the time we need here, Abe. This is I have two star kits now. This is the one that that night we spoke, I had just played at rehearsal, and
right.
it's a four piece that I added a floor tom to. Just sorry, it's going to take me 1 second here.
Oh,
I'm
you
still
did.
learning how I go with this here. So it's a little 12, 14, two 14s, a 20-inch bass drum, wood, matching wood snare,
Right.
and then I got. And then I put two kits together, and I made this little fun little contraption. My granddaughter wants these drums, but her dad won't let her have them
Just yet.
yet. Just yet, yeah.
Ooh, that's
So
cool,
that's
man.
yeah. They're great sounding little drums. I mean they're not. I don't know. I mean they're not meant to be, high-end Tama drums like
No.
you play, but the thing is, Abe, I had a set when I first started. This is not the set that I first got when I started playing at 12 years old, but these sound better. I don't think it's my tuning. I think these are just better drums than what I had like 50 years ago.
Right. Right.
These tune up pretty nice with some good, some Remo coated ambassadors and
Oh, yeah,
um,
they sound great. Yeah, man. And
yeah.
little thin shells and just boom.
Yeah, little finish. And one kit, and you're right. So one of the kits has reinforcement rings in the toms, and
Yeah.
then the other kit doesn't. So there's a little difference there too. But
Yeah.
they're fun to play though.
Oh man. No, definitely. Man. Gorgeous. I
Yeah,
just
thank you.
wanted,
And
yeah, man. I love drums or sit around and when John Tepester and I get together, we just sit and just nerd out
yeah,
for hours, and that's, I love him so much. We'll hopefully meet up when, where we rehearse when we go down to LA is he's got a drum room nearby. So hope to see John always and maybe have a little, and make some gravy.
yeah, absolutely, man. No,
Johnny always makes the good gravy.
Johnny T making the
Yeah.
good gravy, and I totally know what you're saying. He when we start talking, he'll just immediately get into like, yeah, I got this,
He
I
just
picked up
lights
this
up.
Black
Yeah.
Beauty snare. Yeah, yeah. And he probably told you he's got this. I want to see if I got the story right. I'm sure you heard it. He got like Cozy Powell's old snare drum or
Right.
something, right?
Right.
Yeah, and like Cozy's, as you know, is his
It's
number one
his
hero.
fully. Yeah.
Yeah. So how cool is that, man, to have Cozy, and Cozy was fucking awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
like, geez. So good for Johnny T.
Oh yeah.
He's
He's the
good peeps.
best. Fully, man.
Yeah,
Fully.
he is. And I'll just say, I just got this Camco kit a couple of weeks ago, and I played it this past Saturday on a gig. And these are, the originals.
Yeah.
This is the second. This is the Chanute, Kansas era,
Okay.
71, and they are some badass sounding drums. They
Right.
really sound amazing.
Yeah. That was it.
So
And then the pedals went to Tama, and then the
that's
lugs
right.
and the lugs, all the dies and the other machines went to
That's right. Yeah, the name went to Tama, and all the like the lug design and
right
the hardware went to
to
DW.
DW.
So
So
it's like a
yeah.
kind of a split situation, and it was owned by Roland
Okay.
at the time
Wow, man.
when it
Okay.
was sold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's amazing. I like little
So and
tidbits.
yeah, a little tidbit, and,
I love it.
one
Yeah.
last little tidbit is that Roland, as everybody knows, Roland just bought DW,
Right.
and 50 years ago, Don Lombardi bought all the Camco stuff from
From Roland.
excuse me, from Roland, from Tom Beckman, who then went to Roland. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
wild, man. Yeah. When they, I was like, whoa, man. Pretty wild
yeah,
that happened. I was like, what? Huh? Scratching. I was like, and things happen, man. It's a wild business,
I know it
Wild,
really is.
wild biz. Yeah.
I can't keep up anymore.
Oh, yeah. Neither can I. But
Okay.
but we love drums. I know that.
Absolutely, buddy.
You know.
Well, hang with me for 1 minute. I'll end the live stream,
Okay.
and we'll say goodbye to everybody. And I want to thank everybody for watching. This has been such a blast and an honor to have you here today, Abe.
Johnny.
And you're the best, brother.
Hey, ditto. Thank you so much for having me. Always
Thank
happy
you, buddy.
to rap, So yeah, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
And
everybody, thanks
everybody
again
out
for
there.
watching.
Yeah, fully. Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah. Big hand for Abe Cunningham.
Johnny B.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right on, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
All right. Hang tight for
Peace.
1 sec.
Okay.